Nerdmigos.
This is a bonus episode of Nerdmigos.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Geek news and commentary.
Impressive. Most impressive.
With Ismael Alejandro Moreno Zuna and guests.
You mind telling me what this is all about, mister?
I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. Fool of a took. Tanto llamando a Blue Demon. Tanto llamando a Blue Demon.
Now, it's time for your friendly neighborhood Nerdmigos.
Excellent.
Welcome to Nerdonia.
Hey, what's up, nerds? Welcome back to the show. My name is Ismael Alejandro Moreno Zuna. My friends call me Isma. And you're listening to a bonus episode of Nerdmigos for April 4th, 2024. Hey, thanks for listening. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Nerdmigos on your podcatcher of choice. We really appreciate all your support. And if this is the first episode of Nerdmigos you are listening to, well, let me tell you that this is a show where we get together to talk about geek stuff, all that good stuff that we love, movies, TV shows, comics, video games, all those reasons to live. And if this is your first episode, you lucky bastards, we have a great show for you. This is our very first bonus episode. Our regular show is still available, but it's in Spanish or unapologetically in Spanglish sometimes. But we wanted to try something different for a bonus show. And fortunately, I am not alone. It's always a pleasure to have guests on the show. So, my friends, let me introduce you to our guest for this episode. He's a comedian. He's an independent artist. He's a cosplayer, also known as Baby Belushi. Welcome to the show, Chris J. Sorrentino.
Hey, wow. I like that. Thanks. You got everything right. So many people they're like, oh, you do comedy? I just know you from your artwork. Or they're like, oh, you do artwork? I just know you from your comedy. So many people don't put it together. Oh, the Baby Belushi thing. I didn't know you did the other thing.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. Did the homework. I like it.
Thanks, man. Thanks for being here. How's it going? How's your week going so far?
Yeah, okay. I'm here. I'm in New York City. I'm on Staten Island.
Yeah.
In New York City, and it's like a terrible, terrible storm outside.
Oh.
Like it's like wind. Like I was driving and it was like coming in fucking sideways, like hitting the car. It was like slapping the car. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, and fun. And I got a kitten. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, a kitten? Oh,
scratches all over me. Yeah.
What's his name?
A maniac. Beverly.
Beverly the cat.
She's a little black and white. So yeah, so I got my work cut out for me.
Awesome. That's great. Well, thanks. Thanks for being here. And hey, I know you wear many hats. Is there anything you would like to plug? Any personal project or anything you have on the calendar?
Oh, just always you could go back and listen to Super Live Adventure. That's a podcast I did for 10 years with my best friend.
Cool.
And he's a Practical Jokers writer, John Zaluga. Sometimes you see him on the show. Yeah, I did the podcast with him for 10 years. You can go back and listen to that. It's it's my favorite thing I think I've ever done in my life. It's pretty wild. Back regularly, like on Staten Island in the area. Like I do some shows. I pop up. I do some stand up here and there. I do some comedy, still live comedy with John Zaluga. Oh, and check out Real Ghostbusters, REEL. Ghostbusters, like a movie reel. I recreate scenes. I illustrate scenes from the films, but in the style of the cartoon, and like I make it look like it's a frame taken, like a still. Like you paused the VHS tape that you taped the episode on, and you took a picture of it.
Yeah.
Like that's what my artwork looks like. And yeah, that's really it at the moment. Just
Cool.
hanging loose, man.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for I think it's a short film, the Goonies and Agony.
Oh yeah, that's coming up too. I believe in June. I don't know 100%, but yeah, Goonies and Agony. That's from Galaxy of Film. You could check those guys out. they do a lot of good independent stuff. They're my friends out in North Carolina. And yeah, I'm excited, you know what, to see Max from that. He's the director of that film, Goonies and Agony. I'm excited to see him again this year. I'll see him in Joliet,
Oh, cool.
Illinois. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the Blues Con
Oh,
happening
yeah.
in the over the summer. Yeah, I gotta go. So they have like this big Blues Brothers concert in the prison.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's fucking wild. So you know I got to be there, and he's gonna be there. So happy to see my buddy again.
Awesome. So, Chris, we have some things in common. You're obviously a fellow Blues Brothers fan.
Huge,
You're a fellow Star Wars fan.
incredibly
Yeah.
insane,
You're a fellow Ghostbusters fan.
through the
And-
roof.
Yeah, and you're a fellow artist.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ain't no stopping us.
Yeah. So, did one thing lead to another, or is there anything that connects all those things for you?
I guess, yeah, you know, I never thought of it, but I guess just that, you know, expressing that urge to express yourself and put your the things that you love and the things that spark you, put that out there into some way. So I guess it's all like you know, citrical, or I don't even know if I'm using it comes
Citrical.
and goes. Yeah, it's you know, like I'll take something in like Ghostbusters at an early age. So Ghostbusters came out, I was 5,
Yeah.
right? And I would take that in and then sit at home and draw these things. And then like as I got older, I still did, like I still do the thing I did at 8 years old. Like I
Yeah.
draw the real Ghostbusters. Like I remember being like 8 and sitting in school, or sitting at, I remember like being at like a wake. My grandfather died. It was actually just yeah, the anniversary is just a couple of days. It was April 1st, 1989. And I remember like, you know, being told, and I was like, oh, April Fools. And they're like, no, he's dead. I was like, oh,
Uh,
that sucks. But I remember like sitting there, and you got to sit there, and the adults are working out the wake stuff. And I sat there and I had nothing to do. And I grabbed like the pamphlets. I remember drawing like the Ecto 2, like the
Okay.
copter and everything. Like I remember drawing
oh
that.
yeah, the Ecto 2.
And so this is 1989,
Mhm.
you know, and like I'm sitting here now in 2024 getting to draw these things, you know. Sometimes it's for love, sometimes it's I get paid, and
Yeah.
sometimes sometimes I put what I love back out there, and people buy prints and stuff and t-shirts and shit like that. So
Awesome.
yeah, I love it. But yeah, I just like to that I'm just happy. I'm very contented in my life that I have made an impact on something I love in some way. Like I have a piece of it, even if it's like not the most super official, or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm still creatives. They know me. I'm on radars and stuff like that. You know, I got to go to the premiere of the movie. Like
Oh,
Sony sent
awesome.
me tickets. You know what I mean? Like I'm on a radar, and that makes me happy because Ghostbusters is something that I've just been in love with from the moment I saw it. Like it's just true love. So we're soulmates.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, the first time I've heard of you was through the Real Ghostbusters fan art. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, cool.
But
Thanks.
then Baby Belushi started popping up on my social media feed, but
That guy.
I didn't know I was the same person.
Yeah, that's what
yeah,
I'm saying. Some people
yeah.
have no
Yeah,
idea. It's very strange. Yes, I also just happen to look a lot like John Belushi,
Yeah.
and then I'll dress like Jake Blues or Bluto Blutarsky from Animal House,
Yeah.
and like go to cons. It kind of started at I have some friends that actually throw a toga party every year here on Staten
Yeah.
Island at the end of the summer. It's like the end of everything. Like we're all gonna we're gonna light a fire. We're all gonna get half naked. We're gonna jump in the pool. We're completely out of our minds. And you know, whatever you want to do, it's fine. You know what I mean? I just drink and I smoke, and that's it. But I got friends like on Molly, like running around naked. You know, it's wild. It's a wild scene. Anyway, I would dress up sometimes as Bluto for that, just to mess around with my friends. And then so Ryan Espin, who's the president of the New York City Ghostbusters, that like the fan franchise, we met years ago before any of that. He used to be part of this thing called Minions of Gozer, and it was this Ghostbusters
Oh.
shadow cast, and it was fucking awesome. It was so wild. As a matter of fact, John Zaluga, who I brought up before, I did the podcast with for 10 years. I took him first time I heard of this. I took him to it. They were playing at the IFC Theater in Manhattan, and I was like, for his birthday, it was like right around March. You know, it was around nowish. His birthday is in March, so I took him to this show, and I was like, oh my god, I have to meet these people. I have to get involved somehow. And it was wild. So if you don't know what a shadow cast is, I'm sure you do, but just to explain, to elaborate, for your listeners, it's like Rocky Horror Picture Show. So it's like people up in front of the screen while the movie's playing, like reenacting scenes. So you have people in full props. Like the Ecto one was like somebody wore it was like made out of cardboard. They wore it like on suspenders, like a sandwich sign type of old school. You know what I mean? Die Hard 3 style.
Oh yeah,
the racism.
I got it.
but with like lights and stuff, and they're running around and stuff. They had a Slimer puppet, and they would string like Christmas lights, and they were blasting Slimer. It was wild, and people shooting silly string all over. So I was like, I have to be a part of this in some form. And me and Ryan started opening the show. Ryan was also playing Venkman on the show.
Oh, okay.
Him and I started doing Jake and Elwood, and we would open with like Soul Man and everybody needs somebody, and like that's kind of how it started, like dressing like Belushi for things. But then I only kind of went like outside of the friends, or like showing it to a bunch of rowdy Ghostbusters fans. I took it to I went to Star Wars Celebration 2019.
Anaheim.
Not the Anaheim one. I mean, I've been to the I've been going every year since 2012.
Was that Chicago?
This was Chicago.
Oh yeah, Chicago.
This was, and since it was Chicago, and I already had the whole Blues Brothers suit, I was like, you know what? I'll go as Jake, but I bought like a black Star Wars, just a tie, like a TIE Fighter X-wing battle on a tie.
Cool.
And I just was like, fuck it, I'll go like this because it's Chicago, and like people lost their minds. It was like. Everybody in Chicago, like I was getting like love from everybody. I was getting things for free. It was wild. So I was like, you know what? Let me do this every time I go to a con. I go to a lot of cons. Like one of my best friends, he's a big Star Wars autograph collector.
Oh, okay.
So I'll go with him everywhere just because that's my man, and like I just like getting out there and mixing it up at a con. Like you always come back with something cool, you always get a good story, you always meet a nice person, you always get some great pics, you see some cool cosplay. Like, why not go to a con? It's a Saturday. So fun. Take a drive out to Boston, it's 4 hours away, go to a fucking con all day, have a blast. Sometimes stay overnight, get bombed, stay at a Airbnb for a night or something. I like that type of stuff. So I started, doing the Baby Belushi thing every time I go to a con. Just like, you know what? Let's see how far it goes. And then it actually got to the Sony. I got contacted by Jason Reitman
for his SNL movie.
I got contacted. Well, not by Reitman himself, by his people, by casting at Sony, and they asked me to read for the role, so I had to submit a tape and everything, and obviously I didn't get it. This guy Matt Wood got it, and he looks great, and I think he's gonna rock it. But I sit there somehow. So
I can imagine just the experience of auditioning for that. Yeah, that's awesome.
It was cool. It was a little, I mean, it was nerve-wracking, of course, for what actually, what it was.
Yeah.
But it was like extra nerve-wracking because it was like maybe 4 days before the strikes all went down.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, I don't know. I remember I was with my sons and their friends. I took them to Six Flags Great Adventure. It's in New Jersey, like Freehold, New Jersey, Jackson, New Jersey. And I just looked at my phone as we were walking in, and I read that the strike happened. And I was just like, "Oh no!" It was like I'm not going to hear about this for a long time.
Yeah,
And yeah, the movie wound up getting cast, I think like February or something. Just
Yeah, it
this
was
past February.
recent. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, holy Christ. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, well, that's awesome. And yeah, I didn't know it was the same person, the real Ghostbusters artist and Baby Belushi cosplay. But
It's a weird combo.
until until you were in Rebel Force Radio.
Yes.
So
Oh
that's
yeah, Rebel
it's
Force Radio.
so
Yeah.
hey, it's the
My
same
buddies.
guy. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I listened to Rebel Force Radio uh, for years now, and it's actually
Nice.
one of the
Shut.
yeah, shut too, Jason and Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love those guys.
yeah, that podcast, Rebel Force Radio, it's actually one of the inspirations for this podcast.
Oh,
So yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, very, very cool.
yeah.
They're me a lot. I'm gonna go see them next month on May the 4th.
Oh yeah, they have
They're
a
doing a show in Connecticut.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I'm hyped for it.
Yeah. So it's so cool that you remember drawing the real Ghostbusters from the TV. Like a lot of artists, I know it was for me, but a lot of artists learn to draw by copying, right?
Hmm.
And I
Oh
remember,
yeah.
yeah, I remember drawing the real Ghostbusters too when I was a kid. But I didn't copy from the TV. I used to copy from the comic book. I don't know if you remember
Yeah,
the Now
Now
comics.
Comics.
Yeah, Now
Yeah,
comics at
yeah, of
the end
course.
of the
Yeah.
80s. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they did an adaptation of Ghostbusters 2
Oh, okay. I didn't
as a
see that.
comic book
Mm-hmm.
years ago. And it was always something that I loved. And it was like kind of part of the genesis of like what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But theirs is like a little more like it's in the style of the comic book, not the cartoon. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the cartoon has a specific look and the
Yeah.
comic book has a specific look. And
Yeah.
both are
More.
great, but
Yeah.
they're
The comic book is more detailed, right?
yeah,
Mm.
it has more of a like a bounce to it. I don't know how
Yeah.
else to describe. So it's the same artist through a lot of it was John Tobias who did Mortal Kombat. He's one of the creators of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I don't it just it had a just a
Yeah.
separate flavor to it. You know what I mean? Like one's a red wine and one's a white wine. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Exactly.
They're both from the same vine,
Yeah.
but they taste a little different. They look a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
those were some great comics. I
Yeah.
definitely would draw from those. I would draw from like it was cool from like coloring Roger Rabbit coloring books and like I would look at the picture and just draw my own.
Yeah.
It was very yeah, it was because comic books not coloring books are like just straight up line art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a coloring book's a very easy way to learn to draw. There's
Oh
no
yeah.
dimensions, there's no shading. It's just complete straight up line art. Like
Yeah.
so it's one Illustrator file. Like
Yeah. Good times.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I really wanted to talk to go about Ghostbusters with you. So thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, man.
So
Thanks for having me, bro.
yeah. So let's start. Let's start with Ghostbusters, and we can start with this question, which is actually a quote from the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your favorite Ghostbuster?
Venkman.
Venkman. Okay.
Yeah, it's just got to be Venkman.
Yeah. I like the Venkman in the new movie. I think he's still Venkman.
Yeah, he's still
Yeah.
very Venkman.
Yeah, I think the best version of Venkman is when he just doesn't give a fuck. It's just Bill Murray
Yeah.
not giving a fuck.
Yeah, he channels some of that meatballs.
Yeah.
Just doesn't matter, you know. I like, but also, you know, it's I know you said movie, but like also like the cartoon version of him is a whole
Oh,
different
yeah.
dimension that
Yeah.
makes me love that character as well. Like, I can't get enough of it. All Ghostbusters, every Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the cartoon version was really cool too. Really funny.
Yeah.
And So do you remember the first time you saw Ghostbusters? You said yeah. Were you 5 when the cartoon came out, or when the movie came out?
No, I was 5 when the movie came out. So I was
Okay.
born in December of 1978. So
All right.
I
Okay.
was 5 turning 6 that year. So
Okay.
it's funny is I remember I that was the year I graduated kindergarten,
Okay.
and Ghostbusters and Gremlins came out the same day, and it's
Yeah, the same
just
year. Yeah.
yeah, but literally same day,
Yeah.
June
Same
8th.
day.
And yep, and I love movies from such an early age that like milestones were celebrated with movies. So it's like, oh, it's your birthday. What movie do you want to see? You're
Yes.
graduating kindergarten, or you're graduating 8th grade. What movie do you want to see? Like, just that was just how my family worked, and that's how my family still works. That's how I've unfortunately my parents are gone, but I have a wife and 2 sons. One's 14, one's 12, so like they grew up on it, and I've instilled that with them. We were just the Alamo Draft House
Yeah.
here on Staten Island over the weekend, watching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You know what I mean? At 12 and 14, they're sitting through a 3-hour Sergio Leone fucking spaghetti western and
Yeah.
loving it. I these guys are great. But so I remember for kindergarten, I got to go to a movie, and they were like, "What do you want to go see?" I was like, "Gremlins." So I picked Gremlins over Ghostbusters, and then I wound up seeing. I probably saw Gremlins like one more time that summer, but I wound
Yeah.
up seeing Ghostbusters like, I'm not, no exaggeration, like 10 times that
Wow.
summer. Yeah, like that was it. Like I wound up going to see it because it was this big, huge movie, even though it wasn't my first choice for kindergarten graduation. And saw it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And it just changed everything for me. That was
Yeah.
it. It
Awesome.
just, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember
Also,
much.
it was the first. Um, how old were you? How old were you? Were you around when it
Yeah,
first came out?
I don't remember much, but I saw it when I was 8
Okay.
in 84.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. You got a
Yeah.
couple on me.
Yeah.
Cheers to you. Cheers
Yeah,
to that.
cheers. Yeah, I
Hmm.
don't remember much. I know for me it was always a family night, going to the movies.
Yeah, love that.
So we did see Ghostbusters. So Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies of all time, and also that year, Amadeus is also one of my favorite
Yeah,
movies of all
yeah.
time. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
yeah,
have to revisit. It's been a long
yeah,
time, but that's a great movie.
yeah. But so I know that those 2 movies, those are the ones that uh, jump started or sparked that was the spark that started my love for movies.
I
Or,
love it.
mhm.
Yeah, I get it. For me, that year also for me was Temple of Doom.
Oh,
I'd never seen Raiders. I was one of those kids where I saw, I guess I like 81. I was a little too young for Raiders. I didn't go. Like, I didn't really like know. Like, I knew of Indiana Jones, but I didn't know Raiders. And Temple of Doom was my first introduction to Indiana Jones. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, this is wild. Like, it's like the whole movie. It was the first time I saw a movie that just didn't stop. Like, it just kept going. It was like, I didn't know a movie could be that, like, much like a roller coaster, you know?
Yeah.
It's like one situation after another. I'd never had seen anything like that.
Yeah, I was late too. I was late to the Indiana Jones party.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the first Indiana Jones movie I saw was Last Crusade, but in
Oh,
yeah,
wow. So it's a
but that
complete
was
different
home
story.
video. That was home video,
Oh,
not
all
even
right. All
the
right.
not even the theater. But yeah, Ghostbusters. I remember it was just a family night going to the movies, seeing Ghostbusters in '84. But I didn't see it again. If I saw it again, it was through broadcast TV.
Mm.
Yes, and you know that in broadcast TV, well, it's an edited version, so that they cut a lot
Oh,
of stuff.
yeah. Pan
Yeah,
and
and pan and
scan and the
scan, and it's missing a lot of
cursors cut
scenes.
out.
So for years, I remember that's like the movie I remember. So I didn't see it again until I had the VHS.
All right.
So yeah, in my home and my family, they're like I don't want to say foes of technology, but technology always arrived later.
Okay.
So I don't.
Yeah.
I,
Late to the party.
yeah.
and
So
stuff,
yeah, we were late to party and everything technological. So I don't remember the first time we got a VHS player, but once we got a VHS player, I started buying movies.
Nice.
So yeah, that's when I started. I remember watching and rewatching the movie in VHS, and also I think it was around the time the cartoon started, Real Ghostbusters.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, it's like 86,
yeah,
87.
yeah, late
Yeah.
'80s.
Hey,
So
the television dub of Ghostbusters, doesn't he call Walter Peck like Wally Wick instead of Dickless?
I don't
It's like
remember.
something like Wally Wick showing up or something. It's like why? It's something really like,
Yeah,
come on, you couldn't.
yeah,
Couldn't think of anything better than that.
don't remember. Yeah, but yeah, that was Ghostbusters for me. And yeah, well, let's start with Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire,
Mm-hmm.
the new movie. So directed by Jill Keenan, written by Jill Keenan and Jason Reitman. It was released on March 22nd, 2024 in the U.S. We actually got it a day earlier in Mexico, the 21st.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's start with the happy and positive. What did you like of Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire? Something you absolutely loved that you wouldn't change?
uh I guess I love the whole fire master thing. I know that might be
All
a
right.
point of contention with some people, but for
Yeah.
me, that worked. In the same way the cartoon works for me. And I know everyone says, like, oh, it's like the cartoon. I know it's like the fucking like just like, you know, the bullet point of arguing with this movie. But realistically, like that's the one thing that I never really imagined I'd see on the big screen in a Ghostbusters movie,
Mhm.
which this movie was full of things I never thought I would see in a
Yeah.
Ghostbusters movie. You know, like, you know, the Phoebe jumping out of her body essentially, and you know,
Yeah.
like that type of shit. Which is also, you know, it's cool. I don't know how much I'm in love, but I really like that whole like magic thing, and there were Ghostbusters from the past that helped defeat Garaka, but Ghostbusters in a different sense where they used more of an elemental thing, and they all kind
Yeah.
of had a uniform, and it was, I guess, the style of those people, like, you know what I mean, like all that, you know, weird armor, fun stuff.
Mhm.
And basically their trap was the orb. Like I kind
Yeah.
of I
Yeah.
like that, like almost like, you know, like I said, like very elemental, very earthly version of being a Ghostbuster. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna use brass. Like they haven't figured out how to, like, you know, split protons and all this
Yeah.
shit yet. But they figured out, like, if you use brass in certain incantations, you could hold this being. Does I think that's pretty cool. I like that lore of it. I like the whole even like the opening in old New York in 1904,
Oh, that
and
was
there's like an
great.
adventurers club. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know, it felt very, I don't know if you ever seen like Walt Disney World in the 90s. They had like the
Yeah.
adventurers club. It reminded me of that, like
Yeah.
Pleasure
Yeah.
Island.
Yeah, I saw some people nitpicking that that scene, the 1904 scene, because
Oh, the
the real,
firehouse.
yeah, the real building, the firehouse, has two bays.
These motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's,
And
come on. It's also, you know what? The art museum from the second movie. It's a museum for Native Americans. It's
yeah.
not, it has nothing to do with art. Like it's just they thought it was a cool looking building.
Yeah. Yeah,
And like,
it's movie New York, not real New York.
yeah, it's movie New York. Come on, man.
Yeah, but
It's
I liked it.
crazy.
I didn't expect that the movie starts in with a prologue, right? In 1904.
I didn't, and I thought that was a cool touch. It was, you know what? It was definitely it made it its own. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It didn't follow any of the Ghostbuster tropes
Mhm.
of you know, open, you know, with a whole, you know, contemporary thing, or you know what I mean, or you have like a montage or a scene of like a montage of ghostbusting, and then later a montage of like all hell breaking loose.
Yeah.
Like, you know, at least Afterlife had that, the montage of all hell breaking loose.
Yeah.
You know, I you know, I know we're not getting. Should we get into the gripes yet?
Yeah,
What?
let's say positive for for a while.
Yeah.
But
What did you like?
yeah,
What did you like? Just like a, you know.
yeah, one of the things I really liked was this idea of the containment unit being full, that it was just
Yeah.
full and couldn't take one more ghost. So
Yeah.
I like that idea.
It was almost like having like too much clothes in the suitcase. Like you couldn't
Yeah, yeah.
close it. You needed help
Yeah.
closing the door. They had to push a sock in and close the door. Like,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
went for it.
Yeah. I like that idea. I also liked Ray in this movie, Ray Stantz, I think.
Oh, dude, good
Yeah.
call. I
Mhm.
absolutely loved Ray. This was Dan Aykroyd's best performance
Yeah.
in decades in anything. He was so good in this. Like he just I like that he played into the whole like guy who tries to sell you vodka at the beginning. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like doing the YouTube channel thing. Like he played into being Dan Aykroyd, and
Yeah.
it made me happy.
Yeah, I'm glad. I knew the original Ghostbusters were not gonna have a lot of time, like screen time. Uh,
Oh, he had a lot, and I was
yeah,
surprised.
he had more than
Yeah.
more than I
Yeah,
expected. Yeah, but
yeah,
because
he kind of had a supporting role. Like he was in it as much as Paul Rudd.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, because Bigman, I had the feeling that Bigman was just going to show up in the third act, and
Yeah,
we actually got
you
we got
know
more Bigman than I expected because we got another scene of him doing a test, and I like that.
that,
But
and you know there's definitely Venkman stuff cut because there were those pictures before the movie came out. Remember, there's a picture of like it's even in the trailer. I'm sorry too. Excuse me, with Venkman, he's wearing like a scarf and a jacket, and he's
oh
talking to
yeah,
Gruberson by the containment unit. It's all frozen,
yeah.
and Gruberson's like, "Oh, what would you do back in the old days?" And Venkman's like, "Oh, I would have jumped in the shower and hit the clubs."
Oh, I
Like,
didn't see that. I
oh,
didn't
that's
see
in one
that.
of the trails. You know,
Oh, okay.
sometimes yeah, check all the trailers because sometimes
Yeah.
internationally, U.S. and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
South America, like you guys will get different.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if that was like a production photo or if it was a scene.
Yeah, so yeah, you saw the photo, right?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of dialogue that's in one of the I
Oh,
think probably like the last U.S. trailer.
okay.
It's definitely in one of the trailers, but yeah, they have that little bit. And
All
I was
right.
like, oh man, I was like, there's like Bill Murray stuff that hit the cutting room floor. Like that's
Wow.
very bizarre. You know what I mean? Like because you
Yeah.
probably only had Bill Murray for a week at best, right? Like, you know,
Yeah.
how many scenes you getting out of Bill? And
Yeah.
yeah, and you cutting him. I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit. All right.
But yeah, I was happy for Dan Aykroyd. I thought it was great that he has something to do in the movie. And yeah, I also like the
Absolutely. Ernie Hudson was
oh
good.
yeah, Ernie Hudson. Yeah, and I also like the fire master. What was his name? What's the actor's name?
Oh, the actor, Kamal Nanjiani,
Nanjiani. Yeah,
but the
yeah, he's really
character
funny.
Naveen, I believe. I forgot the last name of the character,
Uh-huh.
but Naveen.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, he was great. He
he stole the show.
killed it. Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
he stole the show. I didn't. I knew he was in the movie. I know the actor is funny, but I didn't expect
He's a
that
very funny guy.
Yeah, I didn't expect this. He would steal the show. I really like his character there. Another thing I liked was this character. I don't remember the name of the character, but he's the one. He's like the lead researcher in the new
Lars Pinfield. Yeah,
Yeah.
played by James Acaster.
Yeah, he looks just like Egon in the cartoon. Just like,
Yeah, he
like
does.
Yeah,
he pulls it off.
Yeah, like the blonde Egon.
Mm-hmm. Even
Yeah.
like there's those that one set. Oh shit! What was they called? Like the Power Pack Heroes, and they have he has a
Yeah.
black jumpsuit on with like stripes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it took me right back to that too. Yeah, he definitely came off very like physically very Egon-y. Personality wise, I liked him because he wasn't as deadpan as Spengler. He was like a little bit of a mix. He was a little bit of a smart ass. He was like he was more like Egon from Ghostbusters 2 mixed with a little bit of Venkman. Yeah.
Yeah, so I liked his look. His
Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah. And what else? I like the possessed objects thing, the possessor.
That was cool.
Yeah,
with the pizza, that was a good way to handle that.
Yeah. So I don't know if they had done. I don't remember another possessed object in the movies. The closest I can think of is the toaster, the dancing toaster in Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, it got like very minor things, like the books floating.
Oh yeah,
the first, like super minor.
Yeah,
nothing like nothing like what we saw here.
Yeah. So I thought the possessed Ecto one. The possessed Ecto one, I think it was cool. I think
total
but,
nod.
Yeah, it was just too short. Too short. I think I would. I would love to seen like a whole scene with a possessed Ecto one. But
I'd like to see a lot of stuff that was, obviously short.
Yeah,
I'd like to see a nice 2.5 hour cut of this movie. I think a lot got chopped out.
Yeah. Yeah, but so in general terms, I like the movie. I think it's not just nostalgia. I think it also adds some things to the universe. I think it expands this world.
I agree. I overall like the movie a lot.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I just like exactly saying, like, I like the expansion of it all. To be frank, I kind of wish I'm not gonna knock the director, Gil Kennan. I respect it and I like what he did.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually thought of this recently when I saw videos of the interior of the firehouse, like people like running around. I think like Mythbusters guy was like shooting videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wish more of this space was explored and maybe like a different direct. It seemed like they built this nice firehouse and they populated it and they made it look like it was so lived in and people lived there. And then like they took us right through it. Like we didn't see any of it. Like I would have liked someone who would maybe like let us soak that environment up a little bit, because I felt like that's it's such a shitty thing of me to compare it to the originals, but it's something Reitman would let you do is soak in. You'd get an establishing shot of Dana Barrett's apartment and you'd soak it in, like she's walking across the street. There's these gargoyles on the top of it, like it's very like ominous, like what is going on, like
That's true. That's true. You get a clear sense of the environment of the set.
And I think we got just like whisked through the firehouse very quickly. When we could have spent a little more time with it. They built such a beautiful fucking set. Like I saw they built a set for Callie and Gruberson, like a bedroom. A full bedroom.
It's not in the movie.
It's not in the movie at all. Looked great. Like I want to see what that, and I like that kind of like idea of I don't know. I don't even know the term for it, but it's like not retrofitting, but almost like you take something and you something from the 80s, you take the Ghostbusters firehouse, something inside and out, and then you show it later on with a different family living in it, like how they adapt to that space. And you know what I mean? So it's like all these familiar things, but with this other, it's almost like The Last of Us, where it's like these buildings, but then like plants took over. So it's like these familiar spaces, but like nature went crazy in a way you never expected.
Yeah.
Like I kind of wish we could have dwelled in it, because it looked like that was going on, what was going on in that firehouse set that they had built. And I was like, I want to spend a little more time in there. I want to see a little more of the paranormal research thing. Like, I like that it was a converted,
the research and development team.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's touched upon so quickly, but I like the fact that it was built out of an old aquarium, and you kind of
Yeah,
see
it
that.
looks great.
Yeah, but I want to see more of that. You know what I mean? It's very like Penguin Batman
Yeah.
Returns. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
what
true.
like
Yeah.
Burton gives you a sense of that place.
Yeah.
Gil Kenan doesn't give you a sense of that place. Like, try to imagine the layout of it, or like the actual size of it, or what it might look like from the outside. You get like a very brief, like, you don't see the building. Like, I need some of that in my Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it goes by fast.
That's I just need that.
Yeah, so let's go to the other side of the coin. What is something you just didn't like of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? Something that they should have left out.
I don't know. Some of the Phoebe choices, like her being dumb enough to do that to
Yeah.
herself, like you could fucking like really fuck yourself up.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you take that chance? I mean, you just met this chick twice. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not enough to make you.
Yeah,
She's gotta be some chick.
yeah, I thought the same thing, but we had a guest in another episode here. He's the founder of the Ghostbusters club in Mexico.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah, they do the cosplay and all the gear and everything. And
I love it.
And I thought the same thing, but he had another take. He said he remembered Egon doing like weird experiments, like the first movie where he said he was going to drill a hole in his head.
Yeah, that is a good point. That is a good point. Yeah,
that would have worked. That would have worked if you hadn't stopped me.
Yeah.
And
tray panning, I believe it's called.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's interesting, because Phoebe is just so much like Egon, and
that's true.
She might do something stupid like that.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Okay. That opened my eyes to a new avenue of viewing it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I appreciate that. All right.
So
you know what? You know what I wish wasn't in Ghostbusters anymore at all. This movie and any Ghostbusters. I'm sorry if this might, I don't know, turn somebody off. I don't know who, but the mini puffs gotta fucking go. I can't. It's fucking Minions. It's Baby Yoda. It's all like it's great the first time. I don't need continuous. There was no need for the mini puffs in this.
Yeah.
Realistically, I know they kind of
or Afterlife.
Yeah, or Afterlife. Exactly. But Afterlife, you're doing gozery stuff.
Yeah.
There's a terror dog in a Walmart. I guess you can make a loose connection that the marshmallows would turn into little Stay Puffs. Exactly. I get the nod, hey, hey, we're gonna make a little wink at the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then in this movie, like, there was no need. Like, what did you smuggled them from Oklahoma? You didn't drive there. You're a 15-year-old kid, so you brought them on a plane. you brought them on a plane. Number one, well, yeah, you know what? I guess you could get them on a plane. I got a lot of weed all across the country.
Or a bus? Is that too far?
Oh, maybe a bus. But you know, the morality of it. Like, you know how awful these things are. You're gonna bring them on something that could kill a bunch of people, like
Yeah.
take down a plane or dismantle a bus,
Yeah,
and like
they're destructive.
they're like
Yeah,
gremlins.
yeah, chaotic.
They really are. But I get it where it makes sense, and I'm not gonna love it, like, you
Mhm.
know, but I'm not gonna hate on it, but I will hate on it in Frozen Empire.
Yeah.
It's whack. It's it's duty whack. I'll
Duty.
even say.
Duty whack. Yeah. So I think that the main issue I have with the Frozen Empire, I think it has the same problem that Afterlife had, which is there's not a lot of ghost busting.
Yeah,
Right.
unfortunately.
Yeah,
Like I
it's
said, not even a montage.
yeah,
Like,
at
you
least a
need a
montage.
montage.
Like
Yeah.
like the Ghostbusters 2 montage. Something like
It's
that.
my
Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a ghost busting montage, like when they're at their peak,
Mhm.
and then a montage of ghosts breaking, like almost the flip side of the, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
one's on top, one's on the bottom, and it's like I love them both, because you know what? You have, why wouldn't you use that in your movie? Because it's such a great tool to show
Yeah.
like these non sequitur, like ghost busting moments that don't need to connect, like out of context, like little scenes, little vignettes you can do
Yeah.
very quickly because it's a montage. And like, that's the stuff that kind of like, that's kind of the meat and potatoes of a movie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the stuff that sticks with you.
Yeah, that's missing.
Think of
Yeah.
Rocky 4 without
Yeah.
any montages. You'd have 18 minutes of a fucking movie.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, not a lot of ghost busting and a lot of characters, right? There's a
Yeah, they
bunch of
really,
characters. There's not
some of
enough
them could
time
have stayed
for all of
home.
them. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
I agree. I
yeah,
agree. At a point where I remember going into it saying, like, I really hope Rick Moranis pops up. And then,
yeah.
like, towards the end, I was like, thank God, because it would just been one too many
One-
people in this
yeah.
fucking movie.
Throw in Dana Barrett.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oscar.
oh man. I am really surprised they haven't dragged an Oscar out
Yeah,
yet. Right? Like,
yeah,
and everyone, we all thought like the Lars Pinfield character was going to be
yeah.
Oscar when they first were putting stuff out. We are like, oh, this is it. It's Oscar, man. It's Oscar.
Yeah. But yeah, too many characters, and because of that, I felt that the third act was just like short. I think it was a short
It
third
was
act.
truncated.
Yeah.
It was very you know what I felt bad for in that third act the most?
Hmm.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Good old Lucky. So I guess her pack is the one that got destroyed with the possessor ghost,
Yeah.
right? What's his name? Podcast comes over with the
Yeah.
El Kabong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then and then so then during the final battle, she does not do a single thing, and I
No.
guess it's because she doesn't have a backpack. She doesn't have a proton pack.
Yeah.
But like,
I
think about the
think.
strollers are all together. The OGs are all together in the
Yeah.
basement. Podcast is in the car, and Naveen's doing his thing. You and Pinfield's unconscious. He got slimed.
Yeah.
You don't see Lucky at all.
No. So Janine is wearing like a new gear, like a new tool, like
Yeah,
it's like
almost
a
like.
wrist shooter.
Did you read the IDW comics?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
No.
okay. They introduced something like that in that series.
Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, so Janine has that new tool.
Mhm.
We don't see her use it.
No,
So,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
I think Lucky has one too, and I think we do see Lucky shoot it.
She's testing it in
yeah,
the
okay.
in
Okay.
the ghost aquarium.
Okay, but at the end, I think Janine and Lucky have the same thing. I think.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know if she had it, because it was,
Uh-huh.
remember, that was Lucky's pack that got possessed. So I
Yeah.
assumed like their pack was gone, so she didn't have
Hmm.
anything. So
Yeah.
yeah, I gotta do a rewatch. I don't remember if she had the thing on that.
Yeah, but
then that sucks. You didn't do anything. Then. That's very very okay. Thanks, Lucky.
yeah, it's a lot of characters. Yeah, I think Lucky should have stayed. Maybe the parents too. Just
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
rumor was they were gonna kill Lucky, and like they
Oh,
pulled out. Remember, there was that whole there was a trailer.
oh
I don't
yeah,
know
and
if there's one you saw where you see like Lucky and their eye
yeah,
freezes. You know what I'm
her
talking about?
her eyeball is freezing.
Her eyeball's freezing, and you're like,
Yeah,
holy fuck!
yeah.
Never happened.
I was thinking of that, and I'm starting to think that some of those scenes were just shot for the trailer. I don't know if that makes sense, but they they did the same thing
Yeah.
with the Rogue One trailer. You remember the Rogue One trailer?
Mhm. Yeah, I remember that.
A lot of shots that were just they were just shot uh, because Gareth Edwards thought it would be cool.
Yeah,
But they use them in the trailer, but they're not in the movie. So I don't
I
know if
went to I was at the premiere of that trailer at
yeah,
Star Wars Celebration Anaheim
yeah.
2015. I got a picture. I got a selfie with Gareth Edwards.
Oh, cool.
He was like sitting like down the row from me. It was very bizarre. Yeah, I'll send it to you after this.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
bizarre. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That
So
does seem like a Gareth Edwards style bait and switch to me.
yeah.
I think you're on to something.
So maybe. So
Yeah.
and I don't know how do you feel of Ghostbusters becoming like a family brand or a family movie, because the first one I mean it's silly and all of that, but
It's
it was
raunchy too.
yeah, it's raunchy. It's an adult movie, the first one, but then
Yeah.
Ghostbusters 2 has a baby, Afterlife has kids, and Frozen Empire has teens. So I guess no more phantom blowjobs again. So,
Damn
so
it.
what do you think
I'm
of
disappointed.
yeah? Well, how do you feel about Ghostbusters becoming more like a family thing?
I mean, to not do it would make you the weird outcast, because that's just how movies are made now. Movies are made by studios, and where
Hmm.
you would make, I mean, it's still a studio movie, but you would make a screwball 80s comedy
Hmm.
in the 80s, like where, you know what I mean? Now it's like a committee kind of okaying and vetoing what's going to go into this movie. It's a whole board, and they sit down and they're doing what every other movie is doing, which is trying to be as lucrative as possible, selling to every market. Like, got to put this in it because, you know, Asian market's a huge money maker for us. So you got to pull back on this, you got to pull back on that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Or, you know, tailor some things. There's even scenes in movies that are shot for like different markets. Like
yeah,
scenes are shot and cut in with their regional movie stars. It's
yeah,
very crazy. So everything now is just about like how to make the most bang for your buck, and it's like make it so it can be exposed to everybody, to mom and dad and the kids and grandpa, and like anybody could sit down and watch a Marvel movie. Anyone could sit
yeah,
down and watch a, you know what I mean, a Ghostbusters movie now. Anybody could sit down and watch any, like, this is just these money making, a Star Wars movie. You know what I mean? Anybody can sit down and watch any of these things now without griping, really.
yeah,
Well, you know.
yeah. Makes sense. So, is there something that you think was missing in the movie? Something you wish you would have seen in the movie?
Uh, yeah, I guess. At least like more actual ghost busting,
Yeah,
more said just more just you want to find kind of, I'm fine with the story. I'm fine with you branching out from previous Ghostbusters movies. Like I said, the way it opened very different than any other Ghostbusters movie. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it also did like a time jump. We've never done that in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Explaining Garaka's origin. It was like an
Oh, that was cool.
animated. So it was very cool. So out of the Ghostbusters playbook. Like it's not how a Ghostbusters movie has ever been made. Like it's
Yeah.
just not. It's not something. It's not a tool that they've ever applied to the series. So I respect the boldness of veering out, but let us linger in it.
Yeah.
Let us absorb this new world that you really want to show us instead of like brushing by. It was an amusement park ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like zipping through and for a 4-minute attraction you stood in line for 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like give us a little more time in this world. I wish they would have maybe showed more like what is going on, like answered the question more of like, well, like it's the Ecto 1, a converted Ecto 1A.
Hmm.
Was it always one car?
Oh,
Was it
yeah.
2 cars? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
everyone's like, why? What's this? There's always that ongoing. I suppose it's just like they, remade the car back into an Ecto 1 after the second movie.
Yeah.
But like weird little things like that, if they could have cleared it up, would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just more of like, oh, you know what I wish they would have shown more of?
Hey.
Not generic ghosts escaping from the containment unit. Like if they
Oh,
would have had like a little more on the budget to create different creature designs
yeah.
coming out, instead it was just like generic like
Yeah.
spirits, like woo woo. Like I was like,
Yeah.
oh come on, like you had a good opportunity to like at least like hate it or love it, the 2016 movie went the extra mile in crowd scenes of having like different ghost designs.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's how the movie ends with all the ghosts escaping the containment unit.
Yeah, but
And
they
and,
look
and
like,
that's how
yeah.
that's how the movie ends. But that's a movie I wanted to see.
Yeah,
That's a movie I wanted
yeah.
to see. I always had. I think that they did some of that in the cartoon, in the Real Ghostbusters cartoon. But I always
Oh
had
yeah.
this. I always had this fantasy of what would happen if all the ghosts they have been busting in the last 40 years escaped, and then they have to catch them again, and you would see some of the ghosts who we've already seen in Ghostbusters 1 and 2, maybe some of the
Yeah.
ghosts in the cartoon. Maybe it's the first time we see them live action, some of the
Go
ghosts in the
for it.
cartoon. Yeah.
Agreed.
um,
Well,
yeah,
it would have to
that's a
be
movie I want to see.
everything. Yeah. I have to be everything after Peck shut it down. So like show us the Scolari brothers.
Yeah.
Maybe the ghost jogger's back.
Yeah.
He's just jogging around. You know what I mean? Like you could do anything with it. You could do anything weird. The fur coat comes back. Like, you can do all these stupid stuff. The Titanic just arrived again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
you could do some real wild stuff.
yeah, that's a movie I wanted to see, but I was at least hoping they would do some of those scenes during the credits, like a montage during the credits, very 80s style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Hmm.
You know what? I honestly, I thought it's funny you mentioned the cars. I thought there was going to be something involving photographs of the different franchise, like the different cosplay groups,
Okay.
because I had to sign something for
Oh,
my sons were in something.
okay.
And I had to sign like a Sony thing that was presented to me by my group. And like I think it had something to do with that and never happened.
Okay, like an NDA.
Yeah. Yeah, like NDA, like it also like a release, like you could use this video that
Okay,
your
okay.
sons appear in, stuff like that. So I thought like it was going to be like the fan groups cut in at the end or something. Yeah, I was like,
Oh,
oh, how are they going to use this?
yeah.
I didn't realize. I still don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, they might use it for a featurette or something.
maybe or
Hmm.
some kind of documentary or some shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, some of the another thing I would have liked to see was just just to see Goraka like succeed for a moment, because he can control other ghosts, and that's the uh, that's that's a problem that the Ghostbusters have, that if this guy wins, he can create an army of ghosts. So
Yeah.
I would have loved to seen that army of ghosts just for a minute before they catch him.
If you know what, I kind of I agree with you 100%, and I also think Garaka should have been like introduced like closer to like the beginning of the second act,
Yeah.
rather than, I mean, he's a lingering presence throughout the film, but I mean physically introduced. Like he only comes out in like the last like 20 minutes of the movie.
Like Bill
And,
Murray.
yeah. Yeah, they must have the same agent. But I would have loved to see him doing some damage all around the city. I mean, you see the ice poking around.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see anybody die. You don't see anybody die by icicle.
Not even the Ghostbusters,
No,
he does freeze everybody at the end, right? And
for like a second, but then the fire knocks everybody out. Ghost Girl lights
they melt.
Yeah.
So another thing I would have loved to see was, and also I think they did it in the cartoon, in the Real Ghostbusters cartoon, but I wanted to see how it looks from inside the containment unit.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Well, I did like, I really liked, and I wish, well, you know, when the movie comes out in digital, you grab a high res still of it when they're showing the plans that Egon hand drew of how the containment unit's built and functions, and you see like that big tank, and with like kind of like swirls, yeah. And I was like, oh man, like that's pretty cool. But yeah, I used to love that in those episodes. Like they sent Slimer in, and like he's got to find Stay Puffed, and you see all the other ghosts hanging out in the containment unit, and they're like pissed at Slimer. He's a fucking traitor, man. If you think about it, Slimer's the worst ghost ever. He sold his entire like kind out.
Yeah.
To the guys, he's like
to the
worst.
cops.
It's real Uncle Tom. The worst. Uncle Slimer. No Uncle thanks. Slimer. Fuck you, Uncle Slimer.
Fuck you, Uncle Slimer. All right. So is there something, just thinking of the future of Ghostbusters, what would you like them to do? I know there's an animated series coming to Netflix. I think they would like to do more movies. What would you like to see in the future?
You know what? I have to say I have zero faith in any animation nowadays. Unless it's done by like, you know, studios that want to do traditional 2-dimensional animation, and most of them are like, you know, very, you know, like Rise of the Ninja Turtle style or complete anime. There's no more like traditional like regular Saturday morning cartoons anymore. Everything's CG. I'm not interested in seeing like a Clone Wars style. I'm not knocking the Clone Wars. I enjoy the Clone Wars very much. Which it did get better on the eyes as it went on. But like when you go back and you watch some old episodes of Clone Wars, it's hard. It's like going back and playing a PlayStation 2 game, like legit. And I'm not interested in seeing CG Ghostbusters in any form. I'm 2D or bust, man.
Yeah, that's good.
That's it. As for movies, I don't know. I'm back in New York as a lifelong New Yorker, but it does make more sense to go international, or even you know, just to spread out. You know,
I like to see that. I'd like to see like a headquarters in Mexico.
Like do a movie about all new characters. There's all different ghosts in Mexico. There's tons. A whole fucking Day of the Dead.
That's true.
Yeah, I got your whole thing going on. It's a whole different deal. Yeah, I'd like to see it go international and spread out, as long as they still did touch bit back to the cornerstone of New York
Yeah.
from time
Yeah.
to time. Just because I don't know, Ghostbusters in New York's just always been. I had a hard time accepting Afterlife for a while
Yeah,
because it wasn't.
because New York is a character in the movie. Yeah, it's
Really
almost
is. It
it's like
honestly is.
yeah,
It
it's
really
almost a
is.
character in the first two movies.
Absolutely. And also in the
Yeah,
cartoon.
in the
Like,
cartoon also.
there
Yeah,
are episodes where they went all over the place, but like primarily it just had a very New York feel,
yeah,
you know. Yeah, I hope they go that direction with it. I hope they stick with comedy, getting some comedy writers and comedy, getting some comedy performers, some comedians, keep them
yeah,
involved. Because I Kamal and Patton Oswalt, like and even James Acast, he's a very, very funny guy.
yeah.
I liked all their additions to
Yes,
this.
yeah.
The
This one
people
was a step in the right direction. Right?
agreed,
Yeah,
agreed. But the people who weren't necessarily comedians, did you really, you know what I mean? You kind of fell off you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they didn't really shine like everybody else. And I get it. So it's kind of shows you like, which direction you want to go,
yeah,
as I hope the studio takes note of that.
yeah,
Uh, and yeah, just, also like, I like the short and simple stuff. Not, it doesn't have to be like, the whole world is in danger. I don't mind like the city's in danger or
yeah.
this person's in danger. I don't mind the small stories. I'd love a day-to-day, but man, I'd love a series
Yeah. Yeah,
like yeah,
there's so much there's so many characters in this movie, and each character has its own B story.
yeah. You could this
That
this
they
could
could
have
have done
been
a season. It could have been
absolutely
a mini series or
yeah,
a season.
or you just did yeah, you did different. Every season's a different plot line, and this season was
Yeah.
Frozen Empire, and then next season is I don't know the haunted dildo. I don't know. It's got to be an HBO show then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Go back to the raunchy roots of Ghostbusters,
Yeah, let's
ladies and
go back.
gentlemen.
All right. Well, final thoughts on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Listen, I liked it a lot. It's just if you can come to terms with the fact that the way the originals were made is a different time in filmmaking, a different
Yeah.
period, and a different way of studios creating. If you get past that and realize it's a modern movie, it's cut like a modern movie, it's paced like a modern movie, it's shot like a modern movie. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to linger on one shot. It's going to cut 14 times in that one, back. If you can accept it's done like a modern film, it's a perfectly okay Ghostbusters movie. It's not going to blow your fucking top off, but I don't think you're going to walk out like, oh man, now I got to go throw up. Like, I don't think it's middle of the road.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think Afterlife now feels like a prologue to this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I'm thinking is that Afterlife is a better movie overall, but Frozen Empire is a better Ghostbusters movie, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It actually does make sense because there's a lot more ghostbustering happening. And
Yeah.
Afterlife is a slog sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's like, shot a lot better. There's a lot better, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
lot better compositions. It's the
Yeah.
same DP, I think, right? It's Eric
Yeah, I think so.
Steelberg, Steelfreeze, something like that was his name. I'm thinking of Brian Steelfreeze. That's a Batman artist. I don't know. Steel something. The Man of Steel. The Man of Steel himself DP'd the movie. I believe both of them. But for some reason, Afterlife has a I don't know. has a little more of an old school film look, more like an
Yeah.
Amblin Entertainment, like an old school Spielberg Amblin 80s movie than this. Like I said, this is a modern movie. It's very polished. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's very, even though they went very practical with a lot of things, it still didn't pull off that it was all practical in my
Yeah.
brain. It didn't accept it. I don't know why. Maybe it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and in Afterlife, they had to address the Egon, right? They had to address Egon and
Yeah.
Harold. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, was like, I don't know. I understand both sides of the coin on that one. It
Yeah.
is kind of bizarre and weird to do that. But
Yeah.
also, it looked amazing. And, I fucking cried. I'll
Yeah.
still cry. You put it on, I'll still cry.
Yeah.
But and I got very mad at that movie for a long time. Like I said,
Okay.
like it wasn't. It took me a while to accept it. It wasn't in New York, and I felt like when you walk out of a Ghostbusters movie, you should be like cheering,
Yeah.
like singing the theme song,
Yes.
and like I'm crying.
They
You know what I
made
mean? I'm
they
crying in
made
my
me
popcorn.
cry.
Yeah, it's not the way, but then that's also, well, that's on me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's my expectation of a movie.
Yeah.
That's subjective. Like I shouldn't hold something objectively to my subjective standards. It's a shitty thing to do. But I can't lie to you. Part of me was kind of like, but I came to terms with it and I like
Yeah.
the movie now. It took me a while, but I had to, I had to do a little self-therapy
Yeah.
and realize, what my issues truly were with this movie. And like, you can't project. You gotta,
Yeah.
you gotta see what they're offering, and either you're into it or you're not, but you can't project.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think most fans like the movie, the new one. I think most
so.
fans enjoyed it. Yeah.
You think we're gonna get another
Uh,
100%? What do you think?
I guess so. I think yeah. I think they have another one.
All right. I
I
mean,
think so. Yeah.
all right. I have my fingers crossed. It's
Yeah.
apparently it's still kind of like struggling box office wise to
Yeah.
break even.
Yeah, because
But,
this one it was fast, right? Just the production was really fast, right? Because it was put on fast track, I felt.
yeah,
Because,
yeah.
they did, or maybe we waited a lot of time for Afterlife, but it was almost immediately when they started doing the Frozen Empire.
Yeah. Well, and here it was supposed to come out in December,
Yeah,
and then it got pushed back, which I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to be mad at that because it gives you a little more time to tighten things.
yeah,
But I think they in that December to March just trimmed the fuck out of it.
yeah,
Like they left it kind of bare. They
yeah,
really kind of did. Like,
yeah,
I would honestly love to have seen what was going to be presented to us in December.
yeah, yeah. You think it's a different movie?
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, it's probably very similar, but I think
Mhm.
there's going to be a lot more meat.
Meat in the bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, we're gonna wrap it up. Chris, this was an absolute pleasure to talk to
Same.
you and finally
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Definitely.
And well, thank you for being here. And
Thanks
before
for
we,
having me.
yeah, thank you. And before we go, can you please tell our audience what is the best way to find you online?
Oh, if you just go to pizzaplasm.com, that's with a Z, three Z's. You'll find all my artwork and everything, and then you'll yeah, I got some stuff coming out. You'll see my Ghostbusters art. You'll see other art I do. I do a lot of pop culture art stuff like that, Star Wars, 80s comedy, just fun stuff here and there. Working on a graphic novel right now, original thing with my writing partner, John Zaluga from Super
Oh,
Live Venture.
awesome.
And yeah, I have no date on that, unfortunately, because that's just like we're piecemealing it as we go. So it's very fun, very great. 80s comedy type of thing.
Cool.
Yeah, just check me out on Pizza Plasm, and yeah, you'll find everything from there. I promise.
All right. Well, thanks, Chris, and it was great meeting you, and hope to meet you someday at a convention.
Definitely.
All right. Well, let's go. Time to hit that old dusty trail. All right. That was Nerdmigos. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for subscribing on your podcatcher of choice. And if you need more Nerdmigos in your lives, please go to our website, nerdmigos.com, for everything related to Nerdmigos. Everything Nerdmigos in nerdmigos.com. Not just Nerdmigos the podcast, also Nerdmigos the webcomic, and you will also find there our merch store. And that is the best way to support what we do here at the podcast. So thanks for shopping at our store, and please join the conversation in social media, where you can look for our handle. Our social media handle is Nerdmigos. That's how you find us everywhere online. We have a Facebook page. We're on Twitter, the X. We're on Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. We're on TikTok. We have a Facebook group. It's called Welcome to Nerdonia. That's where we share the geek news and all the memes that we steal from the internet. And we're also in Patreon. If you want to support us on Patreon, we're on patreon.com/Nerdmigos. So that's it. Thanks for listening, and thanks again to our guest, Chris J. Sorrentino. It was a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go. Till next time, I'm Isma, and busting makes me feel good.